everybody! So I thought that today I would do something Susie asked me to do a long time ago, and it fits perfectly with Wonderly's theme this month of Curate, which is kind of like presenting a collection of something, or at least that's how I understand the word curate. English major for the win! So today I'm actually going to present you with the list of my favorite musicals. For the most part, I'm going to do musicals that are in movie form, that way you can actually go watch them without having to pay oodles of money or travel anywhere. But for the record, some of my very favorite musicals I only have the soundtracks for and have only seen really sad recordings of, like Wicked and Spring Awakening. So we're just going to jump on in. And we're going to start with older musicals first because I have a really big soft spot in my heart for older musicals. One of the first musicals that my mom ever made me fall in love with when I was really young was Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. And I've kind of heard this musical referred to as a squeaky clean musical. It's very much about seven brothers who are trying to find wives, and there's lots of songs about go and court and that kind of thing. It's based on the Sabine women, which is a Roman story, and if you know anything about that, then you should know that this musical is not nearly as squeaky clean as it likes to pretend it is. So you probably saw me swinging this around a minute ago, but I also love Singing in the Rain. I've got a thing for Gene Kelly, so I also love An American in Paris, but Singing in the Rain is my favorite Gene Kelly musical. And that includes Hello Dolly, which he directed. And I really love Hello Dolly, but Singing in the Rain is just my favorite. It's a really good combo of a bunch of different Broadway tunes, and it's tap dancing, and it's just good fun. It just is. It's just good fun. I go through phases with my musicals on which heroines I fall in love with because I really love certain actresses, and that's the kind of thing that I get obsessed with in musicals. And for a while I went through a Judy Garland phase. So Meet Me in St. Louis is, I think, my favorite Judy Garland musical. I mean, I love The Wizard of Oz, who doesn't? And I also really love A Star is Born. One of the songs she sings in that is just so classic, and it's really hard to get past that. But this is the best overall musical with Judy Garland, I think. So The Sound of Music is, of course, classic. Everybody loves it. It's got a really great soundtrack. It's based in history, and it's one of those musicals that you just can never get away from. Julie Andrews is classic for a reason. I love this woman. So the very first musical that I was obsessed with that nobody else in my family had even heard of or liked, which I now find a little sad, is West Side Story. I was obsessed with it because it's sort of the remake of Romeo and Juliet, and I was a big Shakespeare fan whenever I got obsessed with the West Side Story. But it's just beautiful. The soundtrack is lovely, and the storyline is, it's heartbreaking. And it was one of the first musicals that absolutely broke my heart that I fell in love with and wanted to see anyway. It also, for the record, has the very first song in 7/7 time to be put in a musical. Yeah, there's that for you. Music nerd trivia. So I mentioned earlier that I go through phases with my musical heroines, and of course everybody has to have a little Barbra Streisand in their life. This is Funny Girl. It's probably the best critically acclaimed Barbra Streisand musical. It's got a gorgeous soundtrack, is again based on the real life of a lady who was in the Follies. And it's another one of those stories that ends and it kind of breaks your heart a little, but it's also got some hope. And I really love it. And Barbra Streisand is brilliant in this movie. She played this part on Broadway too, so you can tell that she really loves and understands this character. One of the other heroines that I was obsessed with for a while, actress-wise, was Audrey Hepburn. And I'm going to go with My Fair Lady as my favorite Audrey Hepburn musical, even though she's not the one singing in it. If you watch Funny Face, which is also pretty brilliant, it's set in France, and it stars Fred Astaire with her, then that is Audrey Hepburn singing, and she doesn't have a bad voice, but I think she's a really great actress, and My Fair Lady is a really good representation of that. And the music from My Fair Lady I adore. I'm not entirely sure that I like the ending of the musical. I'm still trying to get around to that or not, but I love the music and I love the acting and I love the storyline other than the ending so much that I watch it again and again and again. Plus, fun fact, Julie Andrews was the one who started it on Broadway. Like everybody else in my high school theater program, I was obsessed with Moulin Rouge in high school. It's Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, and I had a huge thing for Ewan McGregor at that point. So this musical is directed by Baz Luhrmann, which means that it has a very healthy sense of the ridiculous, which makes me a little happy inside. And yet it still handles some very serious subjects with care. One of the things I really like about this musical is that it was purposely trying to tell a really great love story. So instead of writing all original music, which they actually had all of the score to be able to do that, they wanted instead to take some of the best love songs of all time and put them all together to make this movie really stick. And it helped to resonate with the current audience as it was telling a historical story. And it shouldn't work. As I'm saying this, it sounds like it's totally awful, but it works. Also, to do with my high school theater program, there's Chicago, and we did a number from this, and I had to be Velma Kelly, which I'm sure you can't picture because that is totally not the part for me. But it's about jazz and crime and murder in Chicago in the 20s. So, it's pretty awesome. And the movie's really good. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Renee Zellweger and Richard Gere all do a very good job. Plus, Queen Latifah is brilliant. Love Queen Latifah. And since we're on a cabaret kick here, cabaret. Classic. It's Liza Minnelli. And I'm not really sure that I'm a big Liza Minnelli fan, but she is attached to Judy Garland. She's her daughter. And this movie is pretty incredible. And if you've ever seen Gilmore Girls, the guy who plays Asher Fleming in the later series, he's the guy in this musical. I know that a movie just came out with this, and I have not seen it, but I really, really love Les Miserables. Deep down in my soul, Eponine is like my spirit animal. I grew up listening to Les Miserables because I had an uncle who played the French horn, and so he was obsessed with the score. And I had an aunt who thought that all the songs that Gavroche sang whenever I was younger were supposed to be my theme song. So I went around singing Little People from Les Mis for like 2 or 3 years. It's a lovely score. It's about France pre-revolution. So you're getting a lot of historical aspects, but it's also very, very character-based. And it breaks your heart, but it breaks your heart in a good way. Almost every single time that I see Les Mis, I cry my eyes out. And I watch Les Mis a lot. This is the 25th concert DVD, and it actually stars Nick Jonas, strangely enough. But I really like this version because the girl who plays Eponine in this also plays it in the movie. And she does a fantastic job. Plus, the vocals went really, really well with the music in this one. You didn't feel like they were distancing each other a little bit. They do that a little in the 10th anniversary. Very quickly, we're going to go through 3 newer musicals that I love. Sweeney Todd, and the musical is not new, but the movie musical is new. And I think Helena Bonham Carter? I can never pronounce her name right. I think she's brilliant. I think the direction is really great. I think Johnny Depp actually did a pretty decent job, particularly about a quarter of the way through the movie and forward. He really got into the role he was playing and got comfortable with singing. I love that it's a musical and a horror film. So, win-win. Okay, I love the new version of Hairspray. I will not lie to you. I think Zac Efron does a really great job. I think Queen Latifah is freaking brilliant. I think Nikki Blonsky, the girl who plays the main character, they could not have chosen a better main character. Even Amanda Bynes does a good job. Elijah Kelly makes me drool. It's all really lovely. It's a musical that's ridiculous, and it's about a girl who doesn't quite fit in, trying to get the boy she wants and the dream she wants. And in the middle of it all, she's dealing with this kind of civil rights movement, and I just think it's great to integrate all of those into one musical. And all the music is peppy, the choreography is so much fun. It's just a really great feel-good musical. So I'm sure that everybody is aware of this by now, but I am obsessed with Once. I just am. It's set in Ireland, and it was filmed pretty much as I was in Ireland, which I find incredible. And I love Glenn Hansard's voice. Oh my gosh. It's about an unnamed couple and how they meet and almost fall in love, almost have a relationship, and then it's done. It's this kind of beautiful, magical drum roll moment, I'm going to quote How I Met Your Mother, and then everything kind of splits. and yet it doesn't end in a sad way, and it ends with a lot of hope, and the music is fantastic because it's a lot of old Frames tunes, and whenever it's not just Frames tunes, it's also Swell Season songs, and they have great harmonies. It's now a musical on Broadway, and I hear that it's doing very well, and also that Rory from Doctor Who is about to take over on Broadway for the main role, so good things ahead. And I think that that is a really good place to stop because I've already given you way too many choices. And I will see you next week. Bye! I'm attracted. And I call myself a writer. None of this makes any sense. I'm done now.